All right, Bulls and Bears, I am back with another dose of economic reality. As always, thank you to everyone for joining in here. And I did miss a report yesterday. I actually had to get caught up on some rest and recovery. Some of you actually pointed out down in comments how sickly I looked over the past, I think, week and a half. And there's a reason for that. I'll talk more about that later. But to sum it up for you, I was on this detoxification program which involved taking supplements and stuff like that. I'll talk about that at the end of the video. Let's get right to the financial news here that I have that I wanted to focus on today. And this is the California economy is imploding. And we're up to, and this has only been a few months since this $20 minimum wage law was put in place for these fast food restaurants. We're already up to 10,000 newly unemployed people or newly laid off fast food workers because of this law. Restaurants can barely scrape by even before this higher minimum wage requirement for fast food restaurants. They can barely scrape by. One, you have high costs of operating a business here in California. Two, you have consumers that are so loaded up on debt right now, people are starting to pull back on certain types of spending, including fast food. So you have this double whammy hitting the markets right now, or rather hitting the restaurant industry, and especially if you're considered fast food. Right? So not all locations are defined as being fast food. I think if you have a bakery, if you bake your own bread, you're not fast food. But here we go. Nearly 10,000 fast food workers have been fired thanks to the new state's $20 an hour minimum wage law. And remember, back even before this was implemented, when it was first being discussed over a year ago, we told you right here on this channel that this would happen. According to the California Business and Industrial Alliance, they slammed the governor for this law that went into effect April 1st. So it's only been a little more than 2 months, and we've already witnessed this type of fallout. And if it continues at this pace, we're going to see 60, 70, 80,000 layoffs in the fast food industry before the end of the year. But I think it's actually going to be much worse than that because it's going to accelerate, right? A lot of these restaurants are just now getting behind. And as the months creep on, they're going to get more and more behind trying to pay these wages to their workers. And we're going to talk about companies that are sending jobs to other countries here in just a little bit later in this report. But fast food, not so easy. You need to feed the local people. It's not something you can just outsource and ship into the country like we've done with so many of our manufacturing jobs. This is fast food. This is cook it, serve it now. And this is going to be a big problem for a lot of people. And a lot of people getting laid off in fast food, they don't have many alternatives because you don't have many other career choices when you're beginning in the food industry. You may work your way up to other restaurants and hopefully get a better job that pays better. And actually, $20 an hour is not bad when you look at it. I mean, it's not much here in California. It's the equivalent of minimum wage in many other states. But $20 an hour, if you just look at the history of wages, it's not bad. But when you look at the cost of living, and especially the cost of living here in California, $20 an hour is barely scraping by. So now these people are going from, for a month or two, they made $20 an hour. Probably didn't really help them much. And now, again, 10,000 don't have a job. So epic failure, again, when the government comes in and tries to control how businesses operate, it usually causes more damage than it causes good. And why is that? Why do you think that is? Because usually the people in government, the politicians, they have no experience on actually running a business, right? They're bureaucrats. They are pretty good at signing off on bills and sitting there and debating things and lots of other things that I won't get into with the politicians. But the bottom line is they're there to make money for themselves, and they don't really look out in the best interest for the people, even though I think a lot of them knew that this was going to happen. I think they just did this to try to appear like they're actually helping people. That way they can keep their jobs. But in the end, it doesn't help people. But they can't just sit back and do nothing. If they sit back and do nothing, then their jobs wouldn't be justified. People would be saying, why do we even have these people? Why do we have these bureaucrats? Right? So they have to do something. So they can't just sit there and not pass any bills and not make any new regulations and laws. So of course they're going to do something. And the more somethings they look to do, the worse things get, because they're looking to do something instead of just doing nothing, when doing nothing actually would be better, right? In the big picture, doing nothing would be better across the whole economy, right? Less interference, less regulations, let the economy just flow and function naturally. Let's have an organic economy, right? And this goes across the whole banking sector, the way money is being created and loaned out. The more government intervention we have, the more printed money coming in to quote unquote help people, to quote help the economy, the worse things get. And how long have we said here this is going to continue to get worse? And not much is being done to stop this. In fact, when you look at the way the economy is functioning right now, it's based on debt. So what are they having to do to keep the debt flowing, to keep people spending money? Is they have to loosen the lending requirements. Right? We have no down payment mortgages are back. We have an explosion of this buy now, pay later, where people buy something, even small purchases. I bought something on Amazon a few weeks ago. It was like $60. And the question came up, oh, do you want to pay this off in 6 easy installments of like $12? I was like, no. I just want to pay $60 and be done with it, right? Put it on the credit card, pay off the credit card. But many people now have to do this. And if you look back 10, 20, 30 years, it used to be that credit cards and swiping something and putting it on credit was just meant for bigger purchases, right? So if you go out and you buy, let's say, a lawnmower, an appliance, you put it on a credit card to pay it off after a few months. That used to be the majority of what credit cards were used for. And then 10, 20 years ago, it started being, okay, now people have to put everything on credit cards, every purchase, groceries, go to the drive-in, go to the fast food restaurant, even small purchases, $10, $20. People are putting everything on credit cards. A part of it's because convenience. Yes, it is convenient. Just swipe a card. You don't have to mess with coins and cash. You don't have to count the dirty money, the dirty bills that millions of other people have touched and did who knows what, maybe wipe their nose. So a lot of it is, yes, you don't have to touch these paper bills, which are dirty. But a big part of it is, and I think the majority of it is, people don't have the money. One, they're living paycheck to paycheck too, most people. So they're forced to put everything, mostly everything, on credit cards, right? And I'm sure if more people could pay their rent on credit cards, they would. So it's just going to continue to get worse, folks, because this whole economy right now, this whole thing is based on debt. As soon as the banks put a cap on how much money people can borrow, then this whole thing is done. Do I think that's going to happen? I think it's very unlikely without some outside force coming in and shutting down the banking system, with a big, maybe a blackout or something like that. Maybe the systems get compromised. Maybe the grid goes down, right? It's going to take something major to stop this, because I think the central banks right now and the people behind this, they have learned from, let's say, the financial crisis that, okay, you can't shut off the flow of money. If you don't reinforce the banks or give banks confidence that they'll be propped up and rescued, then the money is going to stop flowing. Banks are going to tighten up and they're going to restrict the lending. So, of course, they don't want that to happen. That's why, what do we see in 2023 after those bank failures? We saw Janet Yellen, Treasury, the Fed, the FDIC all got together and they put the message out there saying, you will be rescued if you have your money in one of these banks that fail, right? So that kind of put a floor under the bank runs. It stopped the bank runs. People are still pulling their money out of the bank. It hasn't stopped completely, but the big bank runs that we saw after the bank failures that started in March 2023, those have slowed down to a trickle. Now a lot of people are just pulling their money out of the bank because they have to spend the money just to get by, right? We're at this point right now where many consumers are reaching the breaking point. All right, so what do you guys think about this? The slowdown in the economy, what's being called layoffs, and it's just 10,000 right now, just after a couple of months. I think it's going to be, I think the next 2 months we'll probably see this triple. I'm thinking 30, 40,000, right? We'll have to see, but we'll see how it plays out here. So keep your eye on this channel for more updates. Now back to what I talked about at the beginning. I appreciate your concern. Again, many of you people pointed out how I looked, and I'm still not completely back to normal. Here's just a quick tip, and I'll wrap this video up. If you want to go on some sort of diet alteration to make yourself feel better, do it gradually. do it gradually. I went on this detoxification program that involved taking probiotics, um, other things that are supposed to cleanse your body. And I did that while not getting much sleep, not drinking enough water. So I did it too heavy and too quickly, and it made me end up not feeling very good. And I thought it was just going to be a couple of days. I thought, okay, after a couple of days I'll feel better. But it went on a week, week and a half, almost 2 weeks, and I wasn't feeling better. So what I did was I just got off it, and I'm going to maybe reintroduce it here and restart it later this year, but much more gradually, and maybe in the summer, because that'll be better because the kids are out of school. I don't have to get up as early. For those of you that have kids that have early mornings getting ready for school, you know it's not a joke. You don't want to stay up too late at night when you have that type of thing that you have to do early in the morning or anything. Anytime you're getting up early, you want to get enough sleep. You want to get to bed if you can. But if you're like me, you like to do a lot of different projects at once and burn the candle at both ends. Stay up too late, get up early, and then you add on some sort of detoxification program. It can really make you struggle, right? So thanks to everybody that was concerned about me. What do you think about the 10,000 layoffs so far in here in California? Mick layoffs. The fast food industry is crashing here in California as far as jobs, right? California in general is in big trouble. Huge financial problems that we'll get more into in a different video. But everybody, we're going to wrap this up. Thanks for watching. Big love. Keep stacking. Bye for now.